I came to content through, I'd been working a lot in the kind of media space, I would say. I was an early employee at Twitter and then worked for a media company and then did a bunch of consulting around media, and content was part of it. There was social media was part of it. And then was consulting for a client at the time, Pivotal, and had the opportunity to come on to lead content marketing there. And that was in 2016, early 2016. So I've been working in kind of the content space there for different companies ever since, really. And to me, it's a kind of like early on, I got a little disenchanted with media companies and sort of saw, okay, there's going to be companies are going to have to produce their own media, and there's going to be an opportunity there. So it's kind of where I decided to move into. The content team on my teams, including myself, is 10 people.
10 people. And how have you gone about structuring this entire team? I think most people struggle to, build the right structure for a team. So in your head, what is the most ideal structure for a content marketing team, and how does one go about thinking around this framework as well?
Yeah, I don't know if I would describe our structure as like the most ideal. It kind of depends on your business, really. I think I'm gonna answer this in a way that I think is most applicable to more businesses. Like, I think you have a couple options basically when you're structuring your teams. You can divide it according to audiences. Like, we have service providers who will sign up for Webflow and build websites on behalf of other people. We have enterprise clients as well, who are using it more directly in-house. So we could choose to divide our content team that way, so there's like distinct people serving those distinct audiences, or we could do it so they're divided more by function, or by, like, you have your editorial team over here, you have your social team over here, you have your video team over here, and that sort of comes with there's a natural channel distribution and stuff there. And then sometimes within those functions, we'll have audience divisions as well. So within the editorial team, there will be people who focus on more enterprise content, people who focus on more service provider content, and so on and so forth. I very much subscribe to the Ira Glass way of thinking about quality content, where there's like this is especially true if you're starting a team from scratch. Like, there's going to be a long time where your content is not at the quality you want it to be, or even the content that you personally think it could be. So you kind of have to get your at bats in, if you will. You have to get through your quantity to kind of get to the quality, I would say. So that's important. And I think with the different phases that companies grow in, like that, those the needs of the company like will change often, versus if you're starting up, versus if you're in a growth phase, versus if you're a more established company. So at different phases, when in a company, you kind of have different needs that you need to focus on. Maybe if you're more established, you focus a little bit more on quality, a little bit more on brand building, and then like before that, you kind of do need a certain amount of quantity. Just it's a mixture of it's a mixture of, yes, you're playing that SEO game, but you still want to create quality content. You can't just go for the lowest common denominator each time. That's going to result in content that's pretty stale and easy to overlook. So you always need this mix of it. It just kind of like what that ratio is depends on like where you are in your journey as a company. The toughest thing about managing content at scale, there's this constant need, I think, to ideate, to create a cohesive themes across all these properties and stuff, and then communicating that out and doing that. There's a cycle there of like, okay, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it, and we're doing it. And like that cycle is always moving for different audiences at different times. So, and sometimes they overlap. So you don't get this I think honestly, just like the constant need for creativity and ideation is, I think, is a challenge for sure when you're doing that at scale. And then I think just making sure that you're, you know, I spend most of my time, if there's anything that concerns me most, it's definitely related to the team and just making sure that they are motivated and fulfilled by what they're doing, that they're challenged, and that they have a good awareness for how their work contributes to the greater business as well.
What kind of playbook or flywheel you've been able to build for content distribution? How do
Yeah,
you think through building and driving that as a key goal?
yeah. I mean, I think in general, content content is like, you have your a former colleague of mine, Emily Kramer, talks about, like, with marketing, you have your fuel and you have your engine, and distribution is the engine and content is fuel. So you can be creating a lot of fuel, and if you don't have an engine that actually helps get it out there, then it's tough there. So we have a content, we have a flywheel. It comes in with this, like, this new property we created called Webflow TV that hosts this docuseries that the content team produced, in partnership with a filmmaker. So we realized, like, hey, this property actually helps sign people up really well. When people sign up for Webflow, they have the opportunity to opt into our email. And then once they start getting our newsletter, that newsletter actually, like, helps convert people. So that's actually created a very natural flywheel. It also has worked across Webflow as well too. Like, when you sign up for Webflow, most people generally opt into our emails, not everybody, but we have a pretty substantial email list, and this email newsletter is working really well at converting folks. We also have Webflow itself has the ability to, like, you can put your Webflow project, which could be a site, could be anything you've built in the platform. You have the ability to showcase it on our site called Made in Webflow, and from there you can clone things as well. So sometimes we'll create our own clonable site that people can then go in and clone, and if it uses other features, they're prompted, oh, here's an example of what you can do with this feature, and they're prompted to upgrade to use that feature. What not to do. I mean, I would say what not to do is, like, I mean, don't try to figure it all out yourself. I think, like, the main thing is, like, really, like, effective content is really about collaboration, and you need to go into, like, anything looking at, like, hey, how are you collaborating with everyone from product marketing to customer marketing, and how are you then synthesizing that into a really, like, cohesive strategy and narratives that make sense for the company or product that you work on.